Alex, I invite you to my shop. You get to play with the new Powermatic bandsaw. I haven't even used this yet. And you take my guards off. What's going on?
Well, you know, we're using a smaller blade than we would normally use. And anytime that you're using a 1/4 inch or smaller blade, a lot of folks don't realize that you need a different guide. That's because what happens is the blade is running a little bit further back at the top than it does at the bottom. And the reason for that is so that when you cut a piece of wood, it doesn't roll everything up into the blade.
Makes contact down here before it does up here.
Exactly.
So
that way it's not pulling everything in. But it's not so good when you're trying to do bandsaw boxes, puzzles, things like that, and you want a perfect straight up and down cut. So we've got the stabilizer on here. The nice thing about the stabilizer is it's got a groove in the back, and that's a piece of carbon steel pressed over a 30,000 RPM double sealed bearing. And that's so that basically that is the only contact point. There are no lower guides. And we're actually springing this guide forward so that the blade is out and perfectly straight up and down. That way, when you do tight turns and accurate cuts, they are perfectly straight up and down. The other thing that it does is with that groove is it now gives you a pivot point. See, when you cut with regular guides, the blade can move both front and back, so it's difficult to kind of make those tight turns.
Yeah, I've experienced that.
Now we've got that pivot point, which is the back edge of the blade, so we can follow a line much easier and get that perfect straight up and down cut. And it's so easy to set up. Plus your blades will last longer because we don't have side guides creating all that friction and heat. To kind of maybe even give you an example, what I'll do is I'll just do a real quick cut. I'll stop the saw, and you would probably think that that blade would be hot. It will have no heat whatsoever. Matter of fact, what I'd like you to do after I do a cut is when I stop the blade, and the key is stop the blade.
Yes. We have a break on this saw.
I want you to put your fingers, the back edge of your fingers on that blade, and tell me whether it's hot.
Okay.
I hope it's not. Safety first. We'll bring that down just above our work. Generally, whenever you're cutting anything with a bandsaw, 1/4 to a 1/2 inch above your work. As you can see, with a 1/4 inch blade, we can get a nice tight radius. And since the blade isn't rubbing on the side of those guides, it's not creating all that friction and heat. But you can see, matter of fact, I'm going to stop the blade first. I want you to put your finger on the back edge. Is there any heat there whatsoever?
No, no heat.
None whatsoever. So we're getting a much longer lasting blade because it's not creating that friction and heat. And the cut that I made is perfectly straight up and down with no taper.